Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray, and thank you for watching. Today we are going to be talking about Rick and Morty, Season 5, Episode 8. Honestly, this might be my favorite episode so far. We learn a lot about Rick's past. We learn, about his connection to Bird Person. We get to see Bird Person again. While, the other family members aren't really in this episode. It's specifically Rick. Bird Person's thought of Rick as a 35-year-old, and Bird Person himself, Tammy's there as well, and then we get a little surprise near the end of the episode. Well, I think it's more like in the middle somewhere, but nothing majorly crazy, but there is some crazy stuff though. So it's like it's unexpected stuff, but in a very good, subtle way. So let's talk about what's happening here. So we get a Pickle Rick reference in the beginning. Beth, Jerry, Summer, Morty are all off going on a cruise, I guess this episode is what they want them to do. And they're gone. They're in the episode for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, then the intro plays, and then it's just Rick going into Bird Person's mind. What's interesting, for starters, is there is a Jarvis. If you are not familiar with Jarvis, you have not watched any of the Marvel movies. Basically, it is an AI system that interacts with you, although I think this is kind of cooler than Jarvis, because Rick, drinks some scotch or whiskey or something, places it down, and it automatically generates a physical coaster that is able to balance it. And it actually, at one point, offered Rick a blowjob, which I thought was kind of hilarious. And I was like, wait a minute, how the heck is it going to do that? It's an AI. And I was like, oh, yeah, it can generate a coaster, so we can probably generate a pair of lips or something. And it was offering Rick that because the AI wanted to make sure that it could live forever. Rick was like, I don't know what your deal is. The way I have your batteries, you're good for 600 years. And that kind of ended it. And then, but Rick being Rick was like, or am I lying? Who knows? How would you know? I'm the one that designed you. So as Rick ends up going into Bird Person's mind through some sort of crystal and some syringe system, another random guy walks by, and the AI is like, hey, do you have batteries? Do you have an engineering degree? Do you have solar panels? Maybe a wind turbine? I'll give you a BJ for it. And later in the episode, after everything is over and before the end credits, and then a little bit after the end credits, we actually see the guy come back with a bunch of stuff. So he was ready. He was like, you know what? Jarvis is about to give me the Gliggy Gluck 5000, and I'm not going to pass down that opportunity. I don't think most men would, or really any man, because it's an AI, so I'm assuming, it sounds like a female, but I'm assuming it could change its voice to sound like a male, depending on the orientation of the person that it was prepositioning, I guess is a good way to describe it. So moving on from that, we get to see Rick and Bird Person meet at a festival for the very first time. Rick doesn't really know where he is, what he's doing. 35 years young. Yes, that is still pretty young for some people that are like 18 years old watching it. You got a long way to go when you're 35. And he meets Bird Person, and apparently Bird Person's culture is they don't name anybody. And Rick was like, oh, that's kind of messed up. And then he was like, yeah, my friends call me Bird Person. So he started calling him Bird Person. We get to see they're fighting the Federation together. They go to the Battle of Blood Ridge. Rick thinks he's made a really good friend here. And then we find out that Bird Person was kind of a little bit of a dick to Rick. He was like, I'm not going with you. He was like, this is real. Basically, Rick was like, we can go to any other dimension anywhere and do whatever we want. We can just be friends forever and hang out. And Bird Person was like, no, like this is my home. This is where I belong. This is my reality. I'm going to stay here and continue to fight the Federation. And that really threw Rick in kind of the wrong way. Because just the way Bird Person said it was like, he basically kind of was like, I don't value our friendship enough to leave everything behind in this reality. And that hurt Rick a lot. And I think that would hurt any friendship a lot in that particular scenario. As I also stated earlier, we get to see 35-year-old Rick talking with modern-day Rick. So real Rick is in his mind. He teams up with a 35-year-old Rick. They go to the Battle of Blood Ridge. And then we find out that Rick's Beth is not real, and possibly the entire family he has been with the entire time since season 1 is not real. We learn that by 35, his daughter is actually dead. So Beth, in his reality, died. So he's not even in his reality. So he feels like he was a crappy father, and he continues to be a crappy father. That's part of his character, but now he's doing it in a different reality. So we don't know how Beth initially died. We know that his wife died in some sort of an explosion. So I think there's also a possibility that in some realities Beth also died in said explosion, leaving Rick by himself. At least that's my guess. We don't 100% know. So Rick, he longs for a family, so he goes to other dimensions. He went to another dimension where Beth is still alive. She didn't die in the blast. We still don't know the full story behind his wife. I mean, this season has been kind of generally disconnected from the most of it, but I feel like this is like the one episode so far that's kind of, pulling on those other seasons. Everything's been kind of its own separate episode for the most part. But this episode I guess it feels more canon-like to me. I know it's all technically canon, but this one kind of ties in to the other seasons. All alternate realities, Bird Person and Rick's background, things along those lines. And I just felt it was a really, really good episode. And then we also learn after that Bird Person has a daughter, and Rick does something extremely, extremely messed up. So we learn that Bird Person has a daughter. We see her as a baby very briefly, and we see her at the end in some sort of federal prison because her father was a terrorist. So even if Tammy had her, she would be considered a fugitive, since they would either kill her or put her in an entertainment camp, and obviously it's a baby. Most normal humans and normal creatures aren't going to kill a baby. Although actually, look at Mother Nature, unfortunately. But they didn't go that route. They decided that she's going to be alive. So it gives that's actually the reason Bird Person decides to live. But the only reason Rick even tells Bird Person about his daughter is because that he thinks that's the only reason that he'll be able to save Bird Person. So Rick was fully prepared not to say anything to Bird Person that he had a daughter, and that was really messed up because he thought he could save Bird Person without telling him that. Now Bird Person, because he was also afraid that Bird Person was going to do exactly what he did at the end of the episode, which is fly away into outer space in order to go save his daughter. He did, regardless of what Tammy did to him, he truly loved Tammy, and we see that several times throughout it. He definitely had an emotional connection to Tammy, even though that she betrayed him, and yes, that hurt him a lot, so it makes a lot of sense as to why he decided to stay with Tammy even after she shot him and turned him into a giant phoenix person. So now he's back to a regular Bird Person. He's going to go try to save his daughter from a Federation base, and that's kind of where the episode ends. So I'm sure we'll get to see Bird Person again in the future and Bird Person's daughter. There'll probably be an episode where Rick might go to help him save her. Or she just might show up at some point in time. The aging thing is really kind of funky because we don't know exactly what age she is. She appears to be, in my opinion, around the age of like 7 or 8, which is kind of ridiculous because all that time went by and nobody else aged. I mean, I can see, Beth and Jerry and Rick looking the same, but you would think Morty would be out of high school by now. Summer would be probably out of college by now if she chose to go to college. I think she did in one episode. She decided to go to college. So it's kind of weird, but I mean, I guess, alternate realities, things along those lines. Because Tammy was initially a friend of Summer's. So, yeah, 8 years have passed and everybody's still the same age. It's kind of like some Ash Ketchum Pokemon stuff going on. But we don't know her actual age. Maybe they just made her look a little bigger because of the whole Bird Person thing. Maybe she develops faster. I mean, that's the one thing I could think of, because being half Bird Person, maybe she grows faster than a human, and that would kind of make sense. Although you look at Summer's baby Naruto, and in the span of like 2 episodes, he has like a full set of hair, so we don't even know how much time has passed during that time period, but giant incest baby in the sky. At least they didn't bring that back this episode. I am happy that incest baby is gone for right now. Anyway, I'm sure incest baby will come back at some point in time. So what I'm going to rate this episode is we're going to give this one like a 10 out of 10 for this season. Excellent episode. Definitely would rewatch this over again several times because I'm sure there's little subtle details that I've missed as well. But excellent episode. My personal favorite so far for this season. There is going to be a 2-week break. Actually, maybe it's longer than that. Yeah, it's actually pushing a month. So we will not get another Rick and Morty episode until September 5th. 1, 2, 3, little over 3 weeks. By 3 weeks and a couple of days. So September 5th, Rick and Morty is going to be back. So no reviews for the next 3 weeks, I guess, on Monday, because I'll probably be doing this review yet again on September 6th. Maybe I'll talk about what might possibly happen. So it's going to be a double episode. It's going to be episode 9 and episode 10 back-to-back. I may split it up into 2 separate videos, but most likely I'll probably just make it as one, possibly a slightly extended video, something along those lines. So no Rick and Morty for a couple of weeks. Look forward to the season finale in September 5th. 2 episodes altogether. We got a little bit of a break, a little bit of a wait. I was expecting a mid-season break, but that actually did not happen at all. So they're breaking it up by the last 2 episodes. So we're going to forget about it. I can guarantee you, give it about 2 weeks, everybody's going to forget about it. And then they're going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, Rick and Morty Season 5 is happening. So next episode, I mean, the preview is, I saw a little bit of it. Not sure what's going to happen, but we're pushing that time. So I think that's where I'm going to end it. 10 out of 10, excellent episode. Look forward in a couple of weeks for the last review of Season 5. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, and comment down below what you'd like me to do for future cartoon and anime-related videos. Yet again, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.